So, TWIC card. Before you upgrade from TNT, then you're gonna need to get your TWIC card. So you guys that are coming from Pittston and Salt Lake City, just keep that in mind because they don't have a TWIC office there. That you have to come by Springfield or go to a TWIC office somewhere and get your TWIC card done. So the TWIC card, it's for going into those ports in those restricted areas. It's like your security clearance. It is your security clearance. So with a TWIC card, you can go into these different shippers, what's it called, docks, stuff like that. You can go into these areas that require a TWIC card to pick up loads. So you're gonna need it. So right now, Springfield has their TWIC office here. This morning they were having computer problems over there. So that's just one thing that you're gonna have to get is your TWIC card. So before you can upgrade from TNT, you have to get your TWIC card done. So if you're from one of those terminals, make sure that you get it. Now, after the CDL test, if you're in Springfield, Missouri, and it's a weekday, the TWIC office will be open. So all you have to do is run right back behind the desk back there, put your name on a clipboard, and get in the line to get your TWIC card. So once you get your TWIC card, you're good, people in Springfield. The problem is the Pittston and Salt Lake City terminal doesn't have them. So TNT trainers also try to get you a load that goes through the Springfield yard at some point during TNT. If you got a student for Pittston or PA, or simply just ask your student, hey, did you get a TWIC card? Just to get that out the way. Because the last thing you want is somebody to be done with their miles, completely finished with their miles, and you're all like, hey, fleet manager, put my student on the list to get his own truck. And the fleet manager's like, hey, he doesn't have a TWIC card. So that'll kind of hold you back from upgrading from TNT. The other thing that'll kind of hold you back is if you got a critical event while you were on TNT. So like, I've talked about critical events before for rollovers and stuff like that. So if you get some critical events, then you're going to end up having to do extra miles. So that's another thing you might forget about. Hey, it happened at the very start, you forgot about it, like, hey, but you did get a critical event. So whenever that shows up, then you might have to do extra miles on top of your 30,000 miles. So keep that in mind, that you can also get held back by having critical events. And then the other way that I've heard of people getting held back from upgrading that I've heard of is people that got tickets. So another thing is if like you weren't paying attention to your signs, or maybe you were speeding or something like that, not paying attention to your signs, you ran past the wait station. Maybe you were simply in the wrong lane out there. You gotta make sure you're reading your signs and make sure that you're obeying the laws. That's part of your job. So, I've heard of people getting a ticket while they were on TNT and them getting miles added on there. So it comes around 30,000 miles. You're all like, hey, send me to the yard, put me on the list for a truck. I finished my 30,000 miles. Next thing you know, you can't upgrade because you got a ticket. So Prime wants to make sure that you're safe, do some extra miles. It's not a big deal. Just go ahead and do your extra miles, pay your tickets. Don't forget to pay that ticket too. Whatever you do, don't not pay it. So that's another way. Pretty much stuff like that. Safety's a concern out here. Those are kind of the reasons why people don't get an upgrade right when they hit the 30,000 miles. They might run into some issues, and it's just small stuff. Right now at Prime, we're giving out these exemption letters that allows you to drive with your test scores, and you have so many days to get back to a terminal and get those not to a terminal, get you back home to get those test scores turned in so you can get your CDL from your local DMV. So you need to do that before that letter expires, I say. But make sure that you go and get that process done. I had a student not too long ago. He had his test scores, took him to the DMV, and the DMV said, we're not taking that. You have to test in this state. So what I had to do is call and find out what was going on, and what I found out is that the DMV did not look up his scores in the national data system. So what we had to do is just say, hey, go in the DMV again. Don't give them your paper copy of your test scores. Let them look it up. Let them do all the work. You know, that's what they're paid for. So they looked up his test scores. It was all in there, entered in. It was all legit. Boom, got a CDL. But he was about to have to test again. We don't want to retest after you already had the stress of your first test. So that's happened. I mean, just it happens. But we got it fixed before it caused any problems. So I mean, we're good now. So just make sure that you don't get into a rush and be like, hey, here's my test scores. I need my CDL. Make sure that if you're having problems, make them look it up in the database so we're not having those issues. The process at Prime is pretty easy, and we're up to date with all the new changes and stuff like that. So we enter the examiners enter that test score into the national database, and it goes to all the states. So we'll be good there. But that's some of the things that I've seen that people are having problems with right now on TNT and stuff like that. Is pretty much, why do I got to do extra miles? Well, what did they say? Oh, I got critical events. I haven't got my TWIC card. I got a ticket for skipping a wait station, which you don't want to do that. Don't do that. Pay attention to those signs. You see the wait station, you go in there if it's open. If it's closed, you don't go in there, unless you just want to stop by and say hi or something, I guess. But if you're new to my channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Check out my other videos. I have a lot of good information on my channel. And thanks for watching this video. This is just some reasons why people might have to do extra miles in TNT.